And Sweden did not. And one of the reasons was that we have these independent agencies or bureaucracies in Sweden. So it's not really the politicians who decide these things. They cannot decide them. It's unconstitutional to have a state of emergency unless it's a war. So instead, this guy, Anders Tegnell, that you mentioned, has become world famous, which is kind of interesting in a sense. It's a bureaucrat. But the economy has not suffered as bad as in many other countries. So for the first quarter, we actually had positive growth in Sweden. Not much, but a little bit, you know. When it comes to the service sector, it's down by perhaps 20%, not by 80, 90% that you see in the rest of Europe. When it comes to car sales, for example, it's down by, I think, 22%, while it's down by 80% in Germany. Just the Swedish way may be the least bad one. You know, it's the costs are high for everyone, but we have to manage this pandemic, and the fact is that the rest of the world is following Sweden. The costs of the lockdowns are unsustainable, economically, socially, psychologically, and I think we have avoided a lot of those things. Swedish authorities, Swedish politicians don't really have the authority to make decisions. It's made by the agencies, by the bureaucracy, the Swedish Health Agency, with this Tegnell, who's the chief epidemiologist there. But I think it's important to point out that the authorities trust us. Coming back to Riccardo, I think, you know, it's interesting. If people are giving a responsibility, if the authorities say, we trust, we only give you recommendations. There are no fines, there are no policemen, but you should stick to social distancing, you should wash your hands, you should behave responsible, you know, in this kind of crisis. People, in fact, respond. People like that. They are treated as citizens. If you don't treat people as citizens, I mean, you will lose the respect of people. Their integrity will be hurt, you know. You should remember, it was communist China, extremely authoritarian, anti-liberal regime. That was the inspirations for all these lockdowns. So I think it's very positive that Italy and many other countries are leaving this very dangerous and harmful situation that we've been in for such a long time.
Roberto, thanks Nils. I'm really happy of being able today to speak with someone from Sweden, which I supported wholeheartedly in these difficult weeks for many reasons. And I've always been, I don't hide the fact that I've been a vocal supporter of the Swedish strategy about the pandemic. I would like to mention that it has been very despicable in the last couple of weeks to see that many government and many politicians that didn't have many good reasons to defend their own policies, so that it was possible to trade the failure of other people rather than to show their successes. So we saw that in many cases, the politicians and media have been cherry-picking examples from other countries, not to defend their own particular strategy, but just to show that other people have done worse than we did. I like very much Nils' comment, Nils' intervention, and I particularly like two keywords he mentioned. One is trust. It is very important for people to have trust among themselves and to trust their government. And it's very also important for the government to trust their own people. And the other point was that the government doesn't want to take ownership of the lives of their citizens, because otherwise they are no longer citizens. They became something else. They became either immature people that need to be controlled, or they're just the subject, or they're just voters that we need to lull into providing us with their support. So that country is not a private company that at the end of the year can present its results. It is something else. It is something that is kept together by a constitution. And for this reason, I have defended Sweden and their strategy, and I will continue to defend the strategy that, by the way, I think it has also been very successful also on a practical level. My point is that the strategy of Sweden had been able to save a very important value, which is trust, which is the value of citizen, which is the value of responsibility. So the Swedish government has dealt with their citizens as though they were worthy of being trusted. And because of that, the climate in Sweden remain at a level of mutual trust and mutual understanding. But they never gave up the most important value of a democracy, which is the mutual trust and the fact that everyone is considered worthy of responsibility and trust. That the question that we must ask is, what is the cost of a nation of people that are supposed to be not responsible of what they do, that need a state of police, that need a state of controllers? That's a cost that it is not sustainable by any society, as far as I know. The society must be able to behave, a mature, grown-up society must be able to behave in a responsible way as a whole.